to make sure that the majority of the residents have been involved, have been notified. It just really, from the very beginning, it always seemed to me that not enough residents had an opportunity to really weigh in on a very, very important part of their community. Number one, we have to make the residents aware of the issue, which I think that they are slowly being made aware of because of the emails that have been going out. And the more the people are aware, the more questions they have. They need to understand the scope of the issue, and they need to be able to weigh in with either their opinion or just. At the last meeting, one of my fellow council members said, well, we've done everything. We've put up banners, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this, we've had charrettes. And because of my pressing of the additional outreach, they did, thank you, add one additional public outreach meeting. It's my understanding, and I don't have any statistics on it, but I did go to one, and there were a number of people there. The majority of them were friends of the library, architects, associated committee members, and I think only maybe over the whole 3 meetings, 40 to 60 residents actually showed up. So my fellow council member said last week, what did you want us to do? Go door to door to the residents? Well, my goodness, yes, if that's what it's going to take, go door to door and get people and say, look, this is what we're about to do. We are about to build a new public library in our town, the first that we have done for over 100 years or whatever. You know, what's your opinion about it? And not only that, we want to build it at the park, which number one requires a change in the zoning, a change in the general plan, and it would forever change the park. For good or bad, I don't know. It could be a beautiful place. It's very romantic to me. I love libraries. It's not about the library. It's about the process. It's about the process. That's all it is. I just want the process. I want the transparency. I want the public to have an opportunity to weigh in. We do live in a very affluent community, and a lot of people are very busy. They don't come to these meetings.
They don't care. They don't care.
That's not true. They do care, and that's why we've got over 300 signatures where you couldn't get 200 people to respond to the needs of the library.
That's
So
why they
our
elected you.
Pardon me?
They elected you. That's the way our form of government works.
Pardon me? So I'm just saying that if the library in the park is the perfect solution, what is the harm in going through a master plan? That would bear it out. That would validate it. What is the harm of doing an authorized survey to the residents? What is the harm in that? So that every resident has an idea of what's going on. Why wouldn't the council take the recommendation from the Park and Recs Committee? Why are they taking the recommendation of the Library Steering Committee over the Park and Recs Committee? The Park and Recs Committee has been, entrenched in a standing committee for years and years and years and years. Why did they ignore their recommendation? I want to appeal to my other council members to do the right thing tonight, to really do the right thing for all of the residents. Now I have a couple of questions that I want to ask some of our city staff. City manager, I just have to ask you 2 questions. Number one, did you ever have any conversation with library steering committee people about doing a master plan early in 2011?
I did.
And what was your response?
Well, I think we've heard the response that they were on a course of further down the road, that some of the responses you've heard this evening about where they were and what their planning process was.
Okay.
It was in April.
So how would you, how many, have you received any phone calls from residents about this process, about the library going to the park?
Periodically, we receive phone calls, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, how would you compare the number of calls to any of the other issues that you're dealing with, like
Such as the
garbage?
trash.
I can't say that there's been an overwhelming number of calls that have come in either way on it. It's probably not something I would say was significant either way, I don't think.
Okay, well, that's good. I was gonna ask the city planner, who's not here tonight, about the CEQA process. So I think I'll ask the city attorney about the CEQA process, because what they've told me about the CEQA process, personally, I just want to verify that in public. Is that okay?
Sure, I agree with them.
Do you? Thank you.
Just kidding.
What I mean is, since council voted, 3-2 last month as the preferred site in the park, and to do a CEQA process, it's my understanding that CEQA will not just look at that one site.
That's correct.
Even though council has said, I want that one site, they could effectively override what we've voted on.
Well, SQL analysis doesn't make a determination. It will give you information and data. It has to look at data, including no project at all. It has to look at alternative sites, and several of them, even on property you don't own, if they would be environmentally better suited for a library. So there will be a number of sites looked at, and some of those sites will be undoubtedly suggested by history. There's been at least 2 sites that I'm pretty sure will be looked at, as well as the other sites on property owned by the town. So in that sense, CEQA will look, it's required by law that they look at alternative sites.
So then the other question I had for you is, if council decided to do, in my opinion, the right thing tonight and reverse what they voted on last month and go forward with authorizing a master plan study to be done, how would that, what would be the structure of doing that?
I don't believe that would be legal under this agenda, the way it's listed on the agenda. There's nothing on there that would notify the public that there was any concept being looked at in terms of undoing what the city council did last time. Just like last time, it would have to be agendized as picking or unpicking the preferred site.
That was the Kathy first.
This is part of what Elizabeth was asking. One of the things that the Library Steering Committee recommended, although it's not part of the CEQA process, is that parking also be considered as part of this EIR. Ironically, it's not part of the CEQA process, but because it's such a concern in the community, all the sites that are under consideration will be reviewed from a parking perspective as well.
I think the city attorneys addressed the first comment I had, that we can't take any action tonight because we didn't agendize any action tonight, but this is more of a give and take information meeting, as I understand it. The citizens petition probably would not have been necessary if earlier this year we held a council workshop or 2 where issues could have been discussed openly by council members and the public. It would have been a public record of all the comments and concerns that were raised. Instead, we have relied on outreach meetings that have been really intended to help sell the public the conclusion the steering committee had reached early in the process. There's been no published record of the public comments or concerns that were raised at these meetings. People in this town want to feel that they've had an opportunity to make their views known and that they have been listened to. Tonight is a good first step. I believe that most residents would accept a decision that reflects the will of the majority. Right now, we don't know what the will of the majority of our residents is. We've already discounted the idea of doing polling of our residents, as was recommended by our Park and Rec Committee. And you discounted the polling that has been done by the resident group as being biased. Although Many pro-library voters apparently took part in polling. We're making some of the largest and lasting decisions that we as council members will ever make in deciding on our town facilities. We need to do it carefully, and the way we do it should have the support of the community. Right now, the community is divided. What can we do to help this situation and still move things along? I would like to suggest we reconsider doing a town poll. Last meeting, you wanted to be certain that you got the park site to be designated the preferred site in the EIR study. You accomplished that. Now consider doing a simple poll, making a very modest investment compared to the millions we will be spending on facilities by investing in a town poll with 2 simple questions. Question 1, do you favor placing a new library in Holbrook Palmer Park? Yes or no? Question 2, do you favor placing the new library in the town's center area? Yes or no? This will give our residents a chance to weigh in and a means for them to tell us what they think. Of course, the council is not bound by the result that comes out of this poll. If the majority are in favor of putting a library in the park, it says the majority of the council was right. And hurrah, I will support it as well. If the majority says they favor the town center for the new library, the council majority can still vote for the park, but at least you know how the town feels about it. I think doing a poll shows respect for our residents. Yes, they elected us to make decisions regarding the town, but this is something so unique and so lasting. It's about how we will be using a significant amount of our taxpayer money that I think we should take time to let them show us what they think. I think we thumb our nose and say we are the majority of the council and we already know how the majority thinks. You may be right or you may be wrong. Don't you want to find out? At least let's put the polling, reconsider the polling and facilities plan on our next council agenda. Thank you.
Well, so I'll give you my comments on it. I have no particular problem with a master plan. We've not had a master plan for the last 10 years or maybe more. So I don't think there's any rush to get a master plan. And the town center, as we plan it, and the library as we plan it, are going to be part of that master plan. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to slow the town center task force down by saying we have to wait for a master plan. I'm sure that the members of the town center task force don't want to be slowed down by that as well. And I certainly don't want to slow down the library because we're waiting for a master plan. Whatever the town center task force recommends and what for the library we've already recommended are going to be part of the town center, or part of this master plan. But at the moment, I see no real rush for a master plan. The town still is in serious financial shape. We are spending more than we are bringing in at the present time, and I see no rush to spend $100,000 or $200,000 on a master plan when the things that are a key part of the master plan are already going ahead. The town center task force is going ahead. The library work, the process is going ahead. And as far as Jerry's comment about polls go, you know, time and time again, I've heard that we should have a poll and all kinds of stuff. We're elected here by the citizens of this town so that we don't need a referendum on everything that comes up. Otherwise, if we needed a referendum on everything that comes up, we wouldn't need a town council. So I would say, you know, we're supposed to be the ones making the decision. We did make a decision last week on the the library, which I think was the right decision. I hope that the town center task force is very successful. I don't want to slow them down. And I would say when we get round to it, would be a good time to have a master plan, but I see no great hurry to do it. Okay. Well,
Make a motion, meeting adjourned.
can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay. All in favor?